may have come across or heard a phrase in the Sacco movement, and I quote, "If you are a Sacco member, you should not die without a huge loan." I had it when I joined my Sacco for the first time. But now, there are those who think that phrase means that have all your assets in the Sacco in your pocket in the form of a loan. But that statement is coined on the basis of the benefits that accrue on the social function or activity of a Sacco to its members. Remember, the primary duty or the principal activity of a Sacco is mobilization of savings and advancement of loans to the members for both providence and production on the basis of security of those savings. But in purpose, Saccos serve the social and economic function of the members. They empower members economically and support the member community socially. So in the advancement of the social support, Saccos operate benevolent funds. And it's on the strength of benevolence in that fund or one of its functions that phrase was coined, that no one should die without a huge loan. Let's get down to the benevolent fund and what it does. So the benevolent fund is a collective protection investment by members of a Sacco in order to enjoy safeguards in the event of catastrophes or in the event of irregular happenings. So members Sacco will be required to contribute or pay on a monthly basis a specified amount of money towards that fund, which has a nature of a sinking fund, that you can only enjoy the benefits out of that fund on suffering certain consequences or events, predominantly that exposes you as a member and the family and the Sacco. So it's a protection fund, a social fund. What does this fund do? Number one, this fund cushions the Sacco and the guarantors and the family of the member against the dangers of the member dying with a loan. So in the event of death, if it is the principal member who has died, number one, there is an exposure on the Sacco portfolio or the Sacco asset of loans on the unpaid balance of this member. So what does this fund do? Because this fund is used to procure an insurance, a credit insurance, the fund or the insurance company writes off the active loan. It's very important to note. The insurance writes off or pays off the clear loan balance from the date of death. Why is it important we note that this is the clear balance on the date of death? Remember, insurance covers are not supposed, or insurance does not benefit, but it restores. So any defaulted amount or any unpaid balance that relates to the period before death, that is not settled by the fund. But keep watching. You will see how where that fund or the balance unpaid before death will be sorted. Number 2, on death, as a light note, we say or we make a joke that the Sacco pays one-way fare to heaven for the departed member. What we mean by that is that the Sacco, out of this fund and the cover, the Sacco pays or contributes towards the funeral expense of that member. Out of my research, I've seen we have Saccos giving between 25 to 50 to 100,000 depending on the person who has died. Because on death, this cover or the fund has a cover that covers the principal member, covers the spouse, covers the children of that member, and the parents of both sides. That's the parents of the spouse and the parents of the member. A nice funeral expense cover. So, we were on the death of the member, and we have looked at the loan by that member are paid off. The clear balance is paid off by the cover resting in the Benevolent Fund. We have also identified that in the event of the death of a spouse of the member, a child of the member, or a parent from both sides of that member, that the Sacco also pays. And we have put in a light note. Pays. We jokingly say that the Sacco pays one-way fare to heaven. Then, what happens to guarantors? The member dying, the loan has been cleared. It means, as number 3, that is peace of mind. It relieves the guarantor and the family of the departed member from that loan. What does that mean? It mean is that the guarantee that guarantors or members had offered to this member for their loans get released immediately. And if any security was used to procure this loan, maybe a title deed, a logbook, signifying a property attributable now to the family left behind by the member, also gets released to the member. But one important thing that many persons, many members appear, like many of us, world over, not to consider periodically is updating their records with Saccos. When was the last time you updated your records with your bank? You remember that girlfriend, that fiancé that you indicated as the next of kin, beneficiary in your bank account. Have you updated? When you were a young person, you indicated your mother, your father as the next of kin in your bank account. Now that you are married and you have a family, have you updated that? It's very crucial for Sacco members to periodically update their records with their Saccos with respect to the next of kins and their beneficiaries and the percentages relating to the benefits accruing from their final dues. Because as I've experienced, as I've practically seen in practice, a mother to children of our departed member profusely crying on realization that this Muse who has just decided to go to heaven did not update the next of kin in the Sacco records that he had indicated a girlfriend, a ex-girlfriend, that they parted ways long time ago. And the wife, on claiming the final dues of the member from the society, only to discover that she is not the beneficiary in the document. Yes, that's a light note. But it's important with regard to the final dues and the functions of the benevolent fund that as members we periodically update our records. So on top of that, it helps the Sacco manage and administer its largest asset, which is the loan book. Otherwise, it cushions the loan book against exposure or credit risks. Then, there's the question of final dues. What is left behind by the member? And this is principally where likely people talk of in the movement that you should not die without a huge loan. Because where a benevolent fund, we have seen that a benevolent fund, upon demise of a member, when the final dues, those are the balance of assets that are supposed to be paid out to the family that is left behind, the benevolent fund multiplies the member deposits by 2. And in some Saccos, 3. It's a product that is tailored by individual Saccos and will automatically vary from one Sacco to another. Don't get surprised if your Sacco doesn't operate one. But essentially, for the final dues, the deposits are multiplied by 2. If you had $1 million, they become 2 million. If you had 10 million, you're talking of 20 million. And if you are a lazy contributor, you have 20,000, it becomes 40,000. And now, what will happen is that, remember, there is a portion of the loan of this member that unpaid that we have said is a default relating to the period before death. That loan balance will be recovered from these final due before they are paid out, because it is a portion of that loan that is squarely due from the departed member. So once the final dues are determined, then that portion of defaulted loan that relates to the period before death shall be recovered from that amount before it is paid out. Another part is on disability. And one where I've seen this one come out very clearly is, and a good example is the defense Sacco. On disability of a member, the Sacco is writes off that member loans on account of the benevolent fund. And remember, we have stated that the provisions, functions, and benefits surrounding the benevolent fund and the cover will vary from one Sacco to another. So, on disability, loans are written off. So we have identified the following benefits relating to the benevolent fund. That is, send-off expenses relating to the principal or the primary member and the family, including the primary parents and the in-laws. Number 2, we have looked at disability. Number 3, we have final dues. Number 4, we have release of guarantor and securities. Number 5, we have management and the protection of the largest asset of the Sacco, that is the Sacco loan book, against credit risk exposures. And lastly, it gives peace of mind to the family of the departed member. It's a kind of a solace, a comfort to the family of the departed member. It's a way of condoling the family collectively. It's a way in solidarity. It's a way of the entire Sacco condoling with the bereaved member or the family of the departed member. Thank you for watching. this video. I hope it has been beneficial for you. And if so, subscribe. Turn on your notifications because another quality pumped video, value packed video will be coming your way. Thank you.